Friends, what does seeking converts mean to you? In Torah, the world is not made better by labeling and categorizing individuals into groups who are in some way supposedly endorsed to stray away from the only ethical standard found within it. And less, teach that someone can still in some way remain ethically relevant on this planet by doing so. The truth is that, according to Torah, there is only one standard and only one divine will offered to humanity to deal with the world's problems, which are nothing less than the only instructions given by God to humanity. Call that becoming a Jew, entering Israel, under the Shekhinah, and or the covenant. Regardless, it never included rejecting either completely or partially the only ethical standard found in Torah, which is why all of you who believe in the Noahide or Neo-Ger movement should ask yourselves this question. Where is this movement ever endorsed in Torah as an acceptable standard for anyone seeking righteousness to follow? Granted, there does exist the presence of those who did not accept Torah, either partially or completely, but where did it state that this was ever a standard to aspire to? And friends, the answer is nowhere. And you must know that it was only a later midrashic and Agadic opinion that those who kept any standard other than the 613, the Taryag mitzvot, after they were given, it was only a midrashic opinion that they would be possibly considered righteous and ever possibly offered a place in the world to come. And know that the rabbis were not even unanimous on this issue. In other words, in Judaism, it has always been a principle that our sages do not establish hashkafa, but only halakha. And friends, this is the major disconnect occurring in the Jewish world today, that people allow metaphysical midrashim to be accepted as dogma, especially when their ideas do not appear in Torah. Again, because the court, Chazal's authority of lo tasur, only extended in interpreting the mitzvot from a practical perspective, and never had the ability to establish some metaphysical reality. And why am I mentioning this? Friends, solely because this is what fuels the anti-convert, pro-Noahide attitude we see today. An idea that only arose off the back of a debate held by our sages on whether non-Jews could be considered righteous or secure sharing the world to come by not converting and only accepting around 7 laws. Again, an opinion that the sages were even split on, and clearly not halachic. So in other words, just food for thought. Again, because Judaism, in terms of belief and practice, is only Torah and Halakha. And everything outside of this should not and could not be used to create some new religious status for people interested in pursuing holiness. Because only the Torah has say on this issue, which is exactly how the Rambam explains it in his Surah Biyah, on what we do, Halakha, when we are actually confronted by a non-Jew seeking more. That we tell him that only Israel is righteous, that only Israel has a share. And this, again, from a halachic practical perspective, on what you're commanded to tell the potential convert. However, we then see in Hilchot Melachim that he makes the personal statement that he believes that non-Jews who keep the 7 laws have a share. But again, this statement was never said from a halachic standpoint. In other words, we were never taught to tell this to the non-Jew. Because again, it's not halakha and not clearly 100% certain. Again, my friends, because the court, the sages, could not rule anything metaphysical into reality. Whether it's the Geulah, the redemption, or Mashiach, or anything outside of what is halakha, was always only understood from a personal perspective. In other words, their personal opinion. According to Torah Shebektav, our only source that establishes hashkafa, only by keeping and accepting Torah are we ever considered righteous, and are we ever allotted a place in the world to come. Now, I believe in the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. However, from an ethical perspective, I cannot offer someone else anything less than the same relationship that I experienced with the Almighty. The only relationship and belief system endorsed by Torah, especially when that person is attempting to acquire not only a higher level of ethical consciousness, but a 100% assured place in the world to come, which Torah offers to only Israel. And by offering anything less, I would irresponsibly be handing over something that we, or even Chazal, were not clear on. Are you mad? Do you feel cheated? Friends, full Torah, or entering the Sinai covenant, is entering a higher state of ethical consciousness. Now, this is something that cannot be physically coerced. However, this does not mean that it should not be offered in the same way the Almighty offered it to the children of Israel on Mount Sinai. Was the Almighty proselytizing? Would it also be wrong for us to emulate the Creator by telling others what He told us? It's even enumerated in one of the 613 mitzvot, the mitzvah to emulate Hashem. Would it be wrong, my friends, for us to tell others, like it says in Parashat Re'eh, see that before you I set life and death, a blessing and a curse. Choose life that you may live. In other words, choose Torah. And friends, if you don't have a problem with that statement, then you do not have a problem with proselytizing. However, if that is the proselytizing that you are rejecting, then the Almighty is not a good role model for you to follow. And for those of you encouraging people to remain with the same ethical or ceremonial standard they happen to be born into, then perhaps if you were at Sinai, you should have encouraged Israel to reject the Almighty's offer for life through His Torah. And for anyone who thinks that more individuals adhering to the full ethical standard found in Torah does not make this world better, then you must also believe that the laws found in Torah are not ethical in themselves, but only magically become ethical when performed by Jews. A popular Kabbalistic principle, if I might add. And for those of you who are adamant against proselytizing Judaism, why is that you do not feel the same against proselytizing the Noahide or Ger movement? So I guess proselytizing is not the issue. No, friends. Non-Jews entering your people is the issue. Another Kabbalistic principle. So a lesser standard you do proselytize, but in some way feel that Torah you ought not to. Why? Where does it tell you that the Almighty's message should be watered down for anyone? Not even in halakha are we ever told to offer a lesser standard to humanity. Coercing the threat of death, absolutely, but only as a way to sensitize the indecent, to sensitize animals, but not as an ethical standard for the ethical to aspire to. And friends, I'm no Karaite, and know that Judaism, hashkafically and halachically, does not in any way frown against intellectually sharing the Almighty's ethical instructions with humanity, with the hope that the listener would convert and join the Torah community, which is what seeking converts was all along. So, my friends, keep reaching higher and don't settle for anything less than the only standard the Almighty gave to perfect this world, the Taryag Mitzvot. Thank you.